Hello everybody, now our video and our session is being recorded. Today we are going to talk about and discuss about understanding thinking skills. By the end of this session, you will have categorized thinking skills and selected questions that could be used to promote them. And you will have applied thinking skills and discussion about problematic teaching situations. Of course, this is part B or part 2 of the session that we had before, understanding thinking skills part 1, and this is part 2. Bloom's taxonomy, I think you are familiar with this. This Bloom's taxonomy for the levels of learning. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Elia.
Hello?
Miss Zainab معك.
Okay, Ms. Zainab. I think your profile name is different today.
Sorry, I didn't have the time to rename.
Okay,
the
welcome aboard, but you are late for 7 minutes. So
I'm sorry for being late.
Okay, our session today is part B of understanding thinking skills. So by the end of this session, you will have categorized thinking skills and selected questions that could be used to promote them, and you will have applied thinking skills in a discussion about problematic teaching situation. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So Bloom's taxonomy, we'll start with Bloom's taxonomy, and I think you are familiar with this or not.
Yes.
Okay. We use Bloom's taxonomy to indicate the levels of learning and the levels of thinking skills. So we start with remembering, then the higher level is understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and on the top of this pyramid of Bloom's taxonomy is creation or to create. So if we define the first level or the low level or low order thinking skill, remember. Remember is to recognize and recall facts. Okay, so this is in the bottom of the pyramid of Bloom's taxonomy. And what about understand? When the student understanding what the facts mean. Apply, this is a higher one, applying the facts, rules, concepts, and ideas. Analyze, breaking down information into components parts. Evaluate, judging the value of information or ideas. To create is combining parts to make a new role, a new whole. Okay, so we can suggest some questions for each level of these 6 levels of Bloom's taxonomy. So the remembering or the lower level of Bloom's taxonomy to remember. When you want your student to remember facts, this is a question.
What happened in this slide?
Okay, could you read this?
What happened in the story?
Okay, we suppose that we are teaching. Our lesson today is about a story or telling a story. So the first thing or the first level in Bloom's taxonomy or in the thinking skills to ask this question. What happened in the story? This is the easiest one, I think.
Yes, yes.
Okay, you agree. So what about understand, the higher level of thinking skill? Why did it happen that way? When you ask about a certain action or a certain event in the story, and the student should answer this question. Why did it happen that way? So this question measures his or her understanding. The higher one is apply, and this is a question for applying on the story you have told. Could you please, Ms. Zainab, read it?
What would you have done?
What would you have done? So I'll ask the student, what if you were in uh, the character shoes? What if you are the character in the story? What would you do? And the higher level is analyze. Which part would you like best? I'll ask my student about what he like best. What he likes best, that means the student will analyze the events of the story to find what he likes best. Evaluate, the level of evaluate. What is the suggested question, Zainab?
What do you think of the story? Why?
What do you think of the story? So here is the student evaluate the events and tell
Yes.
us what he thinks of the story and why. And
This is the regular question in story.
yes,
We use it many times.
yes, interesting, amazing that you use that, because this question measures the evaluation of the student,
Yes.
and
Yes.
the higher one or the highest of all is to create. This is a question when you want your student to create something. Can you think of a different ending? So your story has an ending and you ask the student to create a different one. So I think this is a challenge or not?
Yes, sometimes some people like the ending. The others didn't like the endings. They see a different ending about the story, about which they like to do.
Amazing. And this is the suitable moment that you make your student to suggest a different ending for this story. And this is the creation moment. This is the moment that the student creates something like a different ending for the story. Let's go to the next slide. And here is the thinking skills definition. Thus, thinking are divided into lower and higher order thinking skills. As we see, or as we saw in the Bloom's taxonomy, that we have lower levels and higher levels for thinking skills. What's the difference between these two categories? Try to come up with a definition for both of them to help you understand the difference. Then listen to definition from a trainer and compare your definitions.
Lower order thinking skills can be defined as simple and unchallenging skills, such as when you are storing factual knowledge. Higher order thinking skills involve tasks which are more difficult and challenging, such as assimilating information from multiple sources, determining its truth, and using it to make sound judgments.
Okay, have you listened to that?
Lower order thinking skills can be defined as simple and unchallenging skills, such as when you are storing factual knowledge. Higher order thinking skills involve tasks which are more difficult and challenging, such as assimilating information from multiple sources, determining its truth, and using it to make sound judgments.
Okay, Ms.
Yes.
Zainab, after listening to the definition of lower and higher order thinking skills, let us go to this question.
Simple and difficult skills.
Yes,
Lower simple skills and higher difficult skills and challenging.
yes. Here is our feedback for that. We have matching exercise. We have the two definitions. Can be defined as simple and unchallenging skills, such as when you are storing factual knowledge. Is this higher order thinking skill or
Lower order.
lower? So it's
Lower order.
lower order thinking
Think.
skills. Could you please read the second one? Involve tasks.
Involve tasks which are more difficult and challenging, such as assimilating information from multiple sources, determining its truth and using it to make sound judgment.
Okay, this is a definition of
Higher order.
higher. Okay, higher order thinking skill involves tasks which are more difficult and challenging, but the lower order just easy tasks that like saying or telling facts, storing factual knowledge, and so on. Now think about our teaching practice. Here is a reflection. Think about our practice, our teaching practice. How often do you use thinking skills in your classes? Do you often use them or never or sometimes? How often do you use thinking skills? Like the example we mentioned for the story, when you tell a story, sometimes teachers use thinking skills and they know that they do that. And sometimes we do that unconsciously just by our experience in doing that without thinking of the strategy or the theory.
Yes.
So as you told me that you used that in your
Yes.
courses.
Sometimes in some lessons, we use the singing skills.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Zainab. And here, remember, one way of promoting thinking skills is to think carefully about the kind of questions you use. And teachers should help the students to use a mix of high and low order thinking skills. So these two things we have to remember while we are teaching our students. In page 104 and 105 in our reflective book, look at some of the teacher questions and learner responses from an English language lesson on the topic of healthy diet. Here is a lesson about healthy diet. And we have 4 questions from the teacher to the students. The teacher question here, and I want you to decide which one high and which one is low order thinking skill. When you teach the students about diet and ask the student to name some fruits, when you ask your student, please, Hani, name some fruits. Is this high or low order thinking skill?
I think low, it's knowledge or remembering.
Yes?
I think low, it's knowledge or remembering. Remember the name of some
Excellent.
fruits.
Excellent. It's low order skill because the student just just tell something he stored in his mind about the names of fruits. So the answer here is
Low.
low. You are inviting a famous sports star for dinner. What would you serve? When you ask the student, what would you serve if you invite a famous sports star for dinner? The student will think and has a challenge here to think about what he would serve for the famous sports star. Is this high or low order?
I think high because it's creativity.
Yes,
There's creativity
he needs some creativity to
to
think and have a challenge to decide what should he serve or she serves the star or the famous star to eat, while this kind of people eat something that's appropriate for their fitness as players or famous sports star. Give some examples of proteins. Give some examples of proteins. High or low order?
I think low.
Exactly. Low because it's just restoring some knowledge or information to retell stored information from a mind. It doesn't need a big challenge from the students. Your brother eats McDonald's every day. What advice can you give her? Can you give him? I'm sorry, there is a mistake in the question. Your brother eats McDonald's every day. What advice can you give him? Is this high or low order?
It's high.
It's high because there is a challenge here. Okay, you can give him advice by convincing him for the harms of eating too much McDonald's. Think about one question that uses low order thinking and one that uses high order thinking for each topic. We have 4 topics here: environment, fashion, music, and UK. Okay, I'll take environment as an example for you, as a model, and I'll answer it for you. And fashion, music, UK, I want you to think about them after finishing this session, and you can answer it or think about this in pairs or in group with your colleagues. So, environment, low order and high order. Could you give me a question for low order and another one for high orders? And if you couldn't, I can give you one.
Yes, I can.
Okay, Ms. Zainab.
Low order about remember يعني مثلا what do you know about يعني knowledge about environment, what do you know how
Something
I think
as a knowledge or information, yes.
information about environment.
Like, name 3 items of the environment. You agree?
Yes.
Name
Yes.
3 items of the environment. And the student directly, without much challenge or much thinking, can answer me what? What is the answer you can give? 3 items of the environment. He can say rivers, plants, mountains, and so on.
Yes.
Because they are just names stored in the mind of the student, and he needn't think much about that and needn't have challenge or more challenges. What about the high order question? How could we keep our environment? You agree that this is high order uh, thinking skill question?
Yes, there is the challenging and the creativity.
Yes, the student need his own innovation and innovative mind to give suggestions for keeping our environment. As I told you, we have three more topics: fashion, music, UK. You can write them, or after I air the video, you can see it again and take a screenshot and think about the lower order and high order for fashion, music, and UK. From which angle you see and think about different things? Look at this question carefully. From which angle you see and think about different things? All of us think about issues
Space
from our point of view, from our perspectives. So we have many kinds of people while we are thinking about some issue. Look at these different roles and think which one you usually have when thinking about different problems and situations. The first kind is organizer. Some people of us could be organizer. Organizer, you like to lead and make sure all points of view are represented. So this is the organizer person. Again, the organizer person like to lead and make sure all points of view are represented. The emotional people or the emotional person, your response to any situation is an emotional one. This can be either a positive or negative response. This is the emotional person. The realist one likes to find out information on a subject and know all the facts. Again, the realist one that believes only in facts and proofs, likes to find out information on a subject and know all the facts. Okay, with me, Ms. Zainab?
Yes, with you. I saw this page in Reflective Journal.
Okay, I know. So we are discussing it. It's amazing that you prepared for the session. Thank you so much. And this can reflect with great benefit for you, Ms. Zainab.
Thank you.
The negative one, you can only see the negative side of a situation. This is a negative one. Can only see the negative side of a situation. And the positive one is the antonym. You can only see the positive side of a situation. As you see in the pic here, I think this is an employee and have a very big amount of documents to be handled, and he's still happy. I think
This is
should,
routine, daily routine.
yes, he should be dead by now. The creative one, the creative person, whatever the situation, your approach is to suggest lots of different solutions. This is the creative one or the innovative person. Now we have a nice exercise for that. Match the statements below to the roles. We have emotional, realist, negative, positive, creative, organizer. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sentences or definitions for each role of these. You have to read the statement and then pick one of these roles. Could you read number one, Ms. Zainab, please?
Let's check Wikipedia
Yes.
to find some information.
Which one? Which kind of person is that can say this statement? Let's check Wikipedia to find some information. Is this one emotional, realist, negative, positive, creative, organizer?
I think organizer. I think.
Let's check Wikipedia. You know that Wikipedia is
Realistic.
a documenting site. Yes. So this person could be
Realist.
yes, exactly. You're right.
Sorry.
What about number two? Read number two.
My first reaction is to run as far away as possible.
Okay. What kind of people that can say this sentence? My first reaction is to run as far away as possible.
Emotional.
Emotional. Exactly. Excellent. We have an excellent pair now. Number three.
We can't do that. That's what we did last time, and it was a disaster.
Yes. What kind of people can say that? We can't do that. That's what we did last time, and it was a disaster.
Organizer.
Organizer. I don't think so. It's the negative one. The negative one that thinks about the negatives, not the positives. So he looks to the issue in a negative way or negatively. So he says, we can't do that. That's what we did last time, and it was a disaster. So he doesn't like to try again to make something because last time it was a failure. Number four.
Group work would be a great way to achieve that goal. Organizer.
Group work would be a great way to achieve that goal. Organizer, no, this is the positive one. Group work would be a great way to achieve that goal. So he thinks positively.
Positive, yes.
What if we try recording the lessons in a new way?
Yes, creative.
Creative.
A new way.
Yeah. Exactly. Excellent. Number six.
It should be organizer.
Okay, could you read the sentence?
Okay, I think we need to review what we have achieved so far.
Okay, that's right. Okay, I think we need to review what we have achieved so far. This is the organizer one that can say this kind of statement. This is a discussion between teachers about teaching large classes. The issue here, Ms. Zainab, is large classes, okay? The discussion is about large classes. You will listen to each one of these teachers talking about large classes. One of them is emotional. You know that from his or her speech. Another one is realist. One is negative, positive, creative, and the last one is organizer. So you have to choose each role of that of these 6 rules and match them with these people. Okay, listen and decide which teacher is taking which role. You will listen, and if you cannot hear well, I can replay it for you. So listen to this teacher, number A.
Teaching large groups is okay, but you have to make sure everyone knows what they're doing and when to do it. You just need to plan really carefully. I make very detailed lesson plans.
Okay, you would like to listen again?
Yes.
Teaching large groups is okay, but you have to make sure everyone knows what they're doing and when to do it. You just need to plan really carefully. I make very detailed lesson plans.
Is someone that like to make plans all the time. So this kind of teacher is
I think realist or organizer. يعني واحدة من الاثنين.
okay, and I think he is organizer.
Organizer.
Okay? Organizer. Listen again, and you will hear something that he said indicates to his organizing way in work.
Teaching large groups is okay, but you have to make sure everyone knows what they're doing and when to do it. You just need to plan really carefully.
Okay, just need
Yes.
to plan very carefully. So anybody like to plan his work is organizer.
Organizer.
Number B, this teacher says,
Everyone knows that teaching large groups is impossible and nobody really learns anything. Everyone knows that teaching large groups is impossible and nobody really learns anything.
this teacher says that
Positive.
positive. She tells that, sorry,
Or emotional.
this teacher tells us that big classes cannot be taught anyway, that it's very difficult.
Negative.
So she is negative.
Negative. Sorry.
Correct. What about this teacher?
I find teaching large classes quite exciting, to be honest. It can be much more fun than working with normal groups.
Mhm.
Again, please.
I find teaching large classes quite exciting, to be honest. It can be much more fun than working with normal groups.
She said that it's fun to work with big classes.
Positive.
Positive, yes, exactly. Excellent. This teacher says,
I think I'd like to clarify exactly what we mean by large classes. How many learners is it? 30? 40? 50?
he likes to be specific.
Realist.
I think I'd like to clarify exactly what we mean by large classes.
Yes.
How many learners is it? 30? 40? 50?
He wants to decide how many students in the class specifically, so he is a realist. What about this one?
I find teaching large classes so tiring. I much prefer teaching smaller groups.
Mhm. She finds it tiring.
I find teaching large classes so tiring. I much prefer teaching smaller groups.
Mhm. What kind of this person?
Creative.
I don't think so. She is emotional. She is
She's
emotional. She finds it tiring. The last
With
teacher.
a large group, you can do a much wider range of speaking activities, like pyramid discussions, mingles, class surveys. None of these really work as well with smaller groups.
This is creativity.
Yes. This is,
عشان discussion.
yes,
عشان-
the innovative or creative one. So choose one of the teaching problems that you usually face and create a discussion with your colleagues about it and observe what role you are taking during the discussion. You can find it in the video after publishing it, okay? And think about one issue and discuss it with a peer or some group of peers, and then you can check it on page 108. And our tasks should be on the pages 119, 120, and 121. Discuss our ideas together on Google Classroom. Okay, Ms. Zainab, you have
Okay.
any questions before we leave?
Yes, can I ask you one question?
Yes, of course.
Uh, in my class, there are many pupils who are good in English, but they don't want to study English. يعني هم good in English بس مش عايزين do their best in studying English. What can I do with them?
I think they lack motivation. So you have to vary your motivation for the students. And I think they need to enjoy working at home. So you can suggest some ways that we have learned from our season 1. Okay. We had many activities. You can revise them and check the suitable one for each class and prepare it well and plan well for the students to revise at home or to prepare at home in the new. I think you work with the modern system of the flipped classroom. So we have the online work and we have another work you can give to the students in an enjoyable way, like the activities we had in season 1. So look at the book ونقلب شوية في القديم ونطلع منه الاكتيفيتيز الحلوة اللي احنا كنا شغالين بيها and give to your students, and I think they will be more motivated.
Such as hot seat? Such as hot seat?
I think hot seat is a suitable activity in face-to-face teaching in classes. But nowadays we work virtually, synchronizingly and synchronizingly. So we have virtual classes online. And if you can meet some of your students, you can give them some activities that they can do at home. And after that, they can hand the work to you by hand or online.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and on the group, you can suggest some activities and you can ask our peers to suggest some for us and we can discuss on the group. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Zainab, for attending today, and see you next time, inshallah.
Thank you.
Thank you.